VWAP is telling the story throughout the day, and it's going to change and give us new information, and it's our job to just pivot and react to the new information as we receive it and try not to predict too hard on where we think things are going and react to what it's telling us to do when we're looking at the charts here. So there's a few options of trading it today. I'm going to go over my trade, of course, but first off, let's go over what was in play at the open while we were live on stream. So for anyone that doesn't know, I trade live on ASFX TV every single morning, get a first month for free if you just click the link down below on ASFX TV. But the first things first break of opening range, whether that's the high or the low, it often doesn't run. I teach all about that in my Futures 2.0 course, which is also on ASFX TV, that I definitely don't want to be chasing when it's right on the overnight VWAP, which is here in black, right? So that's from the changeover of day from 6 p.m. the prior evening. So with that being said, we're being above it. Buyers are more so in control so far. So though we're below this new blue one, which is anchored from New York open, I can't be chasing the first break of opening range low, and especially when it's right on a VWAP. Now, could you have longed it when buyers take control here? For sure. Now, if you go through Futures 2.0, you'll also get the full strategy. If you're going to be trading in mid-range, and on this Friday, it's a pretty tight one with the consolidation, let's say you long it on the break of New York VWAP. Exit has to be first break of opening range high, right? You first broke the low, but it's still first break of the high now, so that has to be the exit. So you definitely could have scalped money out of it. I think Austin might have even done that himself. That you need to be getting out of it there, despite it looking so good and so bullish. These first breaks often don't run. So why would I want to still be in a trade if that almost means it's probably going to pull back and go back in a drawdown if I don't think it runs from here normally, right? So that has to be the exit. Otherwise, you just flat out take a loss when you could have had a small win. Otherwise, you don't take the trade. Maybe wait for this to run a little bit higher, wait for the pullback. You could always get long a little bit later on. But we don't get that. So now with that failed run of high of day, we actually make a lower low, right, from this previous one. Okay, so definitely not looking bullish, but then we try to get above this same overnight view up in black, right? I know it's right on this this open range high. Might be a little bit difficult to see, right? It's right there. So could you long it when buyers try to take this New York? You could, right? I definitely do like the longs overall on the day, but I can't ignore structure. Structure is king, and I know for a lot of my best looking trades, I've been over it, that when we're making lower highs and lower lows, which we technically just got a lower low here, I cannot be long in it, or I shouldn't be long in it, or it's not my favorite long, because now the structure is falling for new lows on the bottom and succeeding at it. So that's not the best bullish structure. Otherwise, it would be making higher lows, higher highs. I'm going to long it there, right? So I'm just a little sketched out that this might be a lower high. So rather than get caught in the long, right, where it's mostly want to fall back down, let me look for shorts. But I do still kind of see the long side of it, so I'm just staying flat, right? You don't have to take a trade. That's also another lesson that could be in this video. If you don't know, if you don't love it, guess what? No one's going to force you to take the trade unless it's clear to you, makes sense to you, and the risk makes sense. So then this plays out. It makes another new low. All right, there's the lower low. Good thing I didn't long this, but I didn't short it. Damn, I'm still flat on the day. The shorts are just going by without me. Well, don't just jump in at the bottom away from VWAP. Also, all my best prices come close or on this overnight or this blue VWAP from New York. So if I miss the move from there, I got to wait my turn and wait for it to hopefully pull back to it. So same thing. It started to close above it. By this point, my longs were not in because I just saw now 3 lower lows. That's not bullish structure. I cannot be buying that. So rather than get even looking at the longs here, let's go to my markup here. I thankfully sniped the short. As soon as that candle closed, I said this is a great place to find our next lower low, just like we did back here. So I put in a short at 160.75 right there. And I'm out in 3 bars, in 3 candles saying there's a flush back to these lows. Get me out of here, right? Because it is trend continuation. This is looking good. And I think what? It definitely does move lower, right? Those 3 candles here, it flushes for like 4 more. And then there's the rest of the day. So could I have made more? Sure. That's going to be the scenario almost every single day. But if I can get a stress-free bounce at the lower high, trade it back to the lows in a quick 3 minutes on a Friday, that's my job. Thank you very much, right? Especially having a great week on ASFX TV overall. Nice little cap to the week. But I think it's just almost paramount that I don't hate these longs back here, but I also just don't love them. And I am recently trying to just take trades that I do love. I mess around with something that kind of confuses me or I'm conflicted. I could see both sides of it. At this point in the day, I had no question that I should be shorting it. So when it presented, why I didn't even wait for it to turn or really start bearish, I knew I liked it. So I'm in, right? Full confidence and letting it breathe with a good stop. One thing that could also be noted on this is check the stop loss. If I am wrong on the shorts, it's going to have to take me out at a new high of day. Well, for making a new high of day, then I don't want to be short because there's the higher high coming in. So I'm on the wrong side of things. Get me out. But until then, hold me in the short. So I didn't need that big of a stop, but I could have, right? And then it keeps going lower. And then this is where it gets interesting. VWAP is telling the story. It was definitely bearish. I made money short, and buyers were struggling all morning to hold above here. But then sellers fail for the first time, right? This little double bottom down here. You could have potentially made money. Let's put it on a low of day VWAP first here, right? If you put on a low of day VWAP, see when sellers fully step back in. You could have maybe scalped money short here if you somehow got a great exit. But let's say you take the low of day VWAP break because sellers have clearly been in control up to this point, right? If you take that, you're probably not getting 1R or maybe even an exit on it because it doesn't make a new low a day. Does that mean it's a bad trade? No, it was trending lower. If this had moved lower, you would have wished you were in it, or if you were in it and it moved lower, you love the trade, saying, obviously, look at all this bearish structure, right? So you can't be too hard on the trade because of the outcome. That's just not ever going to be sustainable. You're always going to hit your losers then, and that can't be the case because that's a good loss. Then we start to get new information of, well, this is maybe our higher lows starting up, right? So let's at least wait till we can get a higher high mixed with these higher lows, right? Because back here on the left, we were getting lower highs on top, but also lower lows. So that's fully bearish. Being higher lows on the bottom here is only like half bullish because we have yet to make a higher high from here, right? Break this structure. So until we do, it's still kind of iffy, 50-50, but then you take it out. So buyers are maybe trying to start shifting this trend, and then they do, and then the longs come in. So you weren't on the wrong side of trend. Trend shifted back to bullish because we know there's a lot of buying strength at any given moment. Trend wanted to be bullish. You go over the 15-minute here, that there was even like these higher lows from pre-market back here where it stalled and buyers stepped in. They're just higher lows from back here. So there's the higher high from the higher high back here. So it is kind of tricky, right? The 1 minute was definitely looking short, but not forever because the trend is actually still leaning a little bit more long. So you can't hit your short. You can maybe look to get in longs later, but I think there's definitely viable money to be made in the shorts because also where I'm shorting it is below that overnight VWAP and below the New York falling structure. So let me take that. And if you keep taking it, and if trend were to continue bearish, obviously, you'd make money, right? You weren't trading the wrong side of trend. Trend just shifted. I hope everyone understands that you're not always going to be on the right side of trend to begin with, but hopefully we are. And then sometimes it just goes against us, right? That you wouldn't want to be looking for longs here. What would it be telling you that? Everything has been falling, so you can't really see this move coming, unfortunately, unless you're looking at some book map levels and things like that. But overall, solid Friday. It was a one-and-done day, sitting through all this noise, because also I just don't love trading in the middle of this range when it's like an hour, 30, 40 minutes into the open. It's like, why are we still around these levels? If we're clearly trending, we should be well out of here, right? So it is even not the best trade here, but I did love how it made a lower low. I do know my best trades come after a lower low, pull back to VWAP, great stop loss, happy day. So month is shaping up great. That was a nice close to the week. I think I made $1,000, one trade the day prior, two trades, three trades, two trades. Less is more. If you look at the week prior, it was like one a day. 100% I didn't lose last week, but it was only 6 trades. So it's not that hard to have a 100% win rate if you only take 6 trades. Now, if you take 20 in a week, yeah, I'd say it's pretty hard to win all 20. But when it's 6, it's not that unrealistic to win them all. So I'm just really trying to be precise with my entries. I have to love it. If I'm iffy on it, I'm fine missing a loser, right? Or missing a winner, excuse me. Because I did kind of see the shorts in here. I didn't take it. You don't just freak out and chase things. Say, all right, I kind of thought that could work out, but I didn't think it was worth the risk. This one's worth the risk now. And I get my piece of the pie, right? I'm looking for just a little piece of the move on any given day, whether that's this small move, that small move down. I don't know where it'll be, but I know I'm just trying to find a small piece of it. And that's what we do on stream every morning. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you check out ASFX TV if you want to watch me trade live every morning, as well as get full access to my trading strategy where we went over here, Futures 2.0. On December 1st, there is an update coming to this, so more chapters will be added. So make sure you go through those. I think it's probably better than the original first half, but they're both great. And then also check out the top one sale while it's still live, Black Friday, 57.5% off. All right, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. One small thing you could also look at is the edge report. It was a pretty unlikely day if just structure-wise. If you look at this markup, we double broke the initial balance, right? So that didn't really affect my trade, but it could have affected this trade here maybe. this is like a perfect short, that you took out the initial balance low here. And if you go to Edgefield, we know we probably only single break that, especially on Fridays here. You can see it has happened 11 days, but out of 51. Out of all the Fridays this year, only 11 Fridays have double broken it, so 21% of the time. So being that you took out this bottom, you probably only break that bottom and don't break the high. So I definitely could see why you'd want to short it off this New York VWAP again, back down. But sellers just couldn't sustain and actually did double break, right? So unlikely day, as it was an 80% chance that didn't happen, but buyers stepped in, right? So hopefully you guys made money today one way or another. And check out this report. The link to this is also down below if you want to start a free trial for a week. But I'll see you guys on stream tomorrow morning.